used for informational and educational purposes only. You should not construe any such information or other material as legal, tax, investment, financial, or other advice. Nothing contained here constitutes a solicitation, recommendation, endorsement, or offer to buy or sell any securities or other financial instruments whatsoever by Draper Goren Blockchain, aka DGB, the presenter, or other associated parties for the content being provided. Please do your own due diligence and seek proper counsel.
Boom. What's up?
Not much.
Dude,
Bitcoin's up.
That investor disclaimer is such a bummer after getting super pumped up from Out of Trust, right? Like that song comes in, you're pumping, and then all of a sudden, not financial advice, lawyers, BS.
I like that. I like the disclaimer because that means I get to talk about crypto.
That's true. You know what? I need to look on
to
the
reframing the mind thought, man.
That's right.
Like,
that's right.
Getting it out of the way.
I'm on a hike right now, so I should be stoked.
Dude.
Hey, for everyone who's on the interwebs watching live or otherwise, if you go to dgb.vc, you can learn more about us. But at DGB Ventures, I think on YouTube and on Twitter, you can be watching this live also. So follow those things so that next time we go live, if you're not watching live, you can do that. And then you can talk trash to us and we can see your comment and we can bring it up on the screen and do things like that. But before we jump in and try to create world peace, which is the agenda for today, David's going to tell us what he did with Bitcoin and why it's doing what it's doing.
I have no clue. I don't know if it's the gold ETF outflows and people and the Bitcoin ETF inflows. I don't know if it's Sailor buying more because it sounds like he bought more yesterday, from what I heard. Do your own due diligence.
You know what's crazy?
If it's the millionaires selling off their stock portfolios right now and are they buying more Bitcoin? Who knows? But like the price is going up. Good. It's a good day. It's a good day. At least it was.
Okay. Is the price going up or is dollars going down?
Yeah, that's true. Right. It just depends on the short term on the dollars. It's the cycle. So long term.
You know what's always a fun thing because I just looked down at my phone at Lunar Crush. I remember Lunar Crush has like their algorithm thing that they have a galaxy score and they have an alt rank and they have all these scoring mechanisms that are like proprietary or whatever. When the stable coins go down in rank, it means that the market is doing really, really good. And when stable coins are starting to move up in the rank, oh shit, everything's about to dump because people are buying stable coins and stuff. Right. What up, Chad? Thanks for joining us, man. So I just happened to look down and Tether and USDC are slightly down. They're at like 99.9 cents or something, right? Instead of $1, which means people are selling more of their dollars to buy into other things right now. So it's kind of a funny thing if you're into trading crypto and stuff like that. But you're hanging out in the metaverse right now. Last week played in the metaverse.
My money's in the metaverse.
My money's in the metaverse. Well, your real fake money.
Real fake money, man. Real fake money.
I'm leaning into real fake. Although, okay, so here's the thing. We got to buy these domain names before somebody does when I say this out loud right now. But yesterday when I was talking to Mati Greenspan, I posted on Twitter, by the way, because he called the 55K Bitcoin hours before it happened.
Dude, I'm still wearing red eyes on my Twitter.
Oh, you still, you got your laser
I have not dropped the red eyes. We have not hit 100,000 yet, and we will hit 100,000.
And then are you gonna swap it for your ape, or what are you gonna do then?
Maybe once the red eyes hits. Yeah,
I
don't know.
Sign out of Twitter forever.
Yeah, right. That's when you
that's when you go offline. When Bitcoin hits 100K, it's when you vanish off the face of the earth, and you no longer have.
That would be good. That would be good, right? This page not found.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, delete your account completely.
It's either that or zero. Right?
Yeah, one or the other. That's kind of awesome. No, what the hell was I going to say? Oh, Mati said, I made a mistake by saying I'm leaning into real fake assets and real fake money and real fake worlds. He says it should actually be um, fake world assets and fake world money, and because switching the word real, but real fake is like a word, right? Like, bro, that looks real fake, right? So I like real fake assets. I don't know.
Yeah.
Real fake assets are much more exciting to me than real world assets. Just saying. I don't know.
No, like what we were saying yesterday, it was that's old terms, dude. That's old terms. Asset digitization.
Asset digitization. I mean, technically, that's also an old term made better now, right? Because
right.
Well, because here's the thing: is I did my first startup, like my first real startup is like 2008, but then by like 2010 or so, I think I quit my day job to do it full time. I think something around that time, 2010, 11. In that time, when I raised money for my company, we used DocuSign or one of the versions that existed back then, like Sign Now or something like that. And I remember asking the lawyers and all that if it was legal, if we could do digital signatures, whatever. And they said it's all kosher and good and all that. So we did it. And in my mind, if you would have asked me, are your securities digital, right? Like the investment contracts you sent your investors, are they digital? I would have said yes, because they were, right? They were technically a PDF. Are any of the mechanisms that would require transferring the money and doing that stuff baked in or digital? No. But they signed the docs digitally. I never printed a single one, other than I did have to scan one because I had an old school investor who printed it out, signed it, and sent me a check in the mail.
That's a good point. Like,
so back then I thought it was digital. Today, digital means something different, right? At least to us.
Like you sign an LP, and that LP is actually generating you revenue, and you like click on it, and everything is 100% digital when you collect revenue from the LP. Like, that's
most of our companies we invest in, we do via, well, every single one we do via like DocuSign or Sign Now or something like that. But then we wire the money. I mean, technically, even the money we wire it from our bank account feels digital, even if it's tied to
transition. It's all still traditional.
So are those digital securities? We're already dealing in digital securities.
No. I think the future is of digital securities. Watch, you're going to sign a contract, and your revenue stream is all going to come through the smart contract.
Yeah,
that's going to be a real digital security, right?
Yeah, no, I agree. So when we talk about digital securities in the sense of like Onera or Accrue or Vertalo or any of our companies and things that are dealing in regulated assets but are on the blockchain, they are talking about actually on-chain verified digital securities. And when the money is being transferred, it's actually being transferred and traced on-chain and stuff like that, even cross-jurisdiction, cross-platform, something like that. That is more digital. But I think actually what you were talking about, signing a transaction like directly from your crypto wallet and all that, what up? We only like working with people named David, so that's how it works. David used to work with us too. David Shadrake, he's awesome. Good friend. It is pretty funny, actually. We're gonna have a call with David about a really cool idea he's working on that I talked to him about the other day. And if he joins us, there'll be another David in the mix. That'll just confuse the hell out of us.
You never have enough Davids.
Never enough.
You kind of get an idea what to expect because they're all so similar sometimes.
They're all,
very cool people.
That's right. I was going to make all sorts of jokes, and I realized I shouldn't. I just always want to make the stupid jokes. But right, so when you're talking about investing in crypto, in DeFi, in a digital contract, in a digital, dare I say, security, a digital asset, right? That generates you yield and revenue and whatever. That is actually soup to nuts digital, right? Like that is you taking a digital asset, putting it in a digital contract, and the distribution of that happening in an automated fashion based on if it, whatever the contract is, right? That's really, really digital. Digital securities that are actually deemed regulated securities by government and stuff are using that kind of technology to make their securities better. But I guess you could still call it digital. You can still do all that. But the second there's an issue or something like that, it can't be immutable, right? It has to have certain ripcords and centralization, because legally you can't steal a security from me and get away with it, right? Like it's not like a $1 bill that falls on the floor, you pick it up, it belongs to you now, right?
I like immutability though.
Oh, I know, I love it. That's the beauty of crypto and blockchain, and that's one of the most important features.
Yeah.
But you cannot create a security like, okay, let's talk about real estate. If I dropped the keys to my home right next to my wallet that has cash in it, you can't pick up that cash and the keys and be like, hey, this is my house now, the keys fit in the lock. There's a piece of paper somewhere, there's a government agency somewhere, there's a deed and a trust and all sorts of rules and laws that say that house belongs to me. Just because you found the keys on the floor doesn't mean it belongs to you now. If I list that house in some contract that creates an automated way for you to buy it, then that's a different thing. And that's where digital securities are coming in. But if I, that's the difference, I guess, right? If I have a crypto wallet that holds a regulated asset in it, and you get access to it, or I make a mistake and something happens and I lose it, or I lose access, there needs to be a central authority that can burn that token or burn that asset and then reissue it to me. That's like a fundamental part of creating a regulated asset that's a digital security, which is why I understand why certain crypto diehards don't like it. But
well, yeah,
as much as I want a digital jurisdiction in a weird, real fake world to live in, I do live in the real world, and I do live in a country, whether I agree with what the politicians do or not, and I have to obey certain rules and laws if I want to transfer my ownership of certain things. Now, then you can get into debates what I'm allowed to do or not allowed to do on my own property, and who actually owns that property, and get into all those fun debates. But the asset itself, you can't just go full DAO without registering with the government and start buying and selling assets that are regulated by them.
But the thing is so I think not all cryptos are created equal, right? And I think there's categories. Mm-hmm. And I think there are those that, they might be seen as securities, but they're 100% protocol related with no DAO. And, those by themselves, like, they're not companies, they're protocols, right? Versus if you're a company or you're a DAO, that's going to be treated differently, I think. And I think they should be. So
100%. Yeah, no, I think that the problem is like everything, there is different groups, right? And there's different styles, and there's certain ones under certain governments. But if like me and you and 5 friends go out to lunch and we decide to split paying for it, however we want to split paying for it, nobody gives a crap, right? And technically nobody gives a crap if we trade.
You should have a right to use your money. The problem is it's really not our money, it's the government's money, and that's how they want to treat it, and they print it. The Federal Reserve prints the money off of the bonds that they receive, in exchange for bonds. And it's funny, the president of El Salvador made a great comment in one of his videos, talking about how the tax system is an illusion-based system to keep us, hooked into thinking that we're paying for the government when really we're not, because they can just essentially print money and buy, and issue bonds for the printing of money. And it was kind of an interesting statement coming from him, but it's kind of true at this point. This is why we're in the predicament that we're in.
He's one of the first countries to go, all in on Bitcoin and stuff. And it makes sense because his country didn't have its own currency anymore because they were using US-based currency. And they can either choose one of two things. They can kind of roll with the manipulation and try to have some kind of power alongside that, but they don't, right? They're too small. They're just kind of like us, right? They're just along for the roller coaster ride. And the dollar is better than 90+% of currencies of the world, but not at all compared to at least the vision and promise of Bitcoin, right? Like it's.
Well, so I heard somebody, and I don't know if this is true, but I was at my Bitcoin meeting last night. And somebody made a comment that Argentina just balanced their budget. And the way they did it is they just put a hold on spending. And because they have hyperinflation, all of a sudden now the budget was balanced.
Because the hyperinflation makes it worth so much. That's pretty funny. I mean, people, that's the thing is there's a yin and yang to everything. And I won't claim to know shit about shit because I purposely kind of avoid these conversations because I get so pissed off and offended. But there's like the El Salvador guy goes whole hog one direction and is essentially like a dictator, right? But in the same way that when we were growing up, like Singapore was the butt of all jokes, right? And I don't know, like I said, I'm starting this whole thing off with I don't know shit about shit. But in Singapore, you remember we used to watch the news or we talk about it when your kids, if you spit on the ground in Singapore, they beat you with a stick or whatever, the weird, and maybe it was exaggerated because we're just dumb Americans, or maybe it wasn't. I have no idea. I don't know. But what I do know today is Singapore is considered like a freaking utopia and one of the greatest places to live in the world by almost anyone. El Salvador is kind of doing that now. They're just throwing every gang member in prison, or even people are going this is extreme. Even people who don't do any crimes that just have a gang tattoo are being thrown. I don't know. I have never been there, but I'm seeing it, and they're kind of following the same trajectory, and it's kind of crazy. Same thing, Argentina. I don't think they're doing that, but they went they voted in somebody who's just I hate government spending. I'm just cutting all budgets for everyone. And then all of a sudden, things are starting to work or whatever, or their budget's balanced. I don't know if that fucking matters. Does it matter that a government's budget is balanced when they can just print money anyway?
That we've had that available.
But as much as I think 99% of the most extreme liberal views myself, and I think that we should all have health insurance paid for by our government. All schools should be free, and all the things that maybe hardcore people on the other side think I'm an insane, crazy person for thinking. I'm also insanely offended because I know that the amount of wasted money that's spent by our government on shit that doesn't matter, or even wasted money on the things that are the most important to me, could be fixed easily, and every single person could have all the things I believe we need, right?
I think we should put a tax where we want to, and if it doesn't get funded, then it gets cut. And eventually you'll get
Here's the thing, is that if the schools could be free with 1/10 of the budget they get. If there wasn't corruption with insurance companies and hospitals and all of the things that people are like, hey, bro, it's capitalism. It's not, right? And I'm not anti-capitalism and I'm not anti-socialist. I kind of love both in their own ways because there's a gray area, but everything is corrupt. Everything is fully 1000% corrupt. And I believe that 1/10 of the budget that's spent on healthcare for our country could provide free healthcare for every single person. That's leaps and bounds better than what's provided today. And I think the same thing with education. And if we lived in a country where everyone was educated in a way better way, I think we'd be living in a better world, right? Imagine if everyone how many people did you know that were coming out of high school, shit, I can't afford college. Maybe I'll join the military, right? And then I get free college afterwards. And they go to free college afterwards. It's not actually free. And they don't actually have health care, even though they're hurt from freaking putting their life on the line to support their own country. and help, like this is crazy that this is America, like the greatest country in the world, right? Like it doesn't make sense to me. And so the thing I hate the most is not like if I say, oh, we should cut down spending or something, I don't know, right? Again, I try to avoid these politics, but if I say we cut spending, you all of a sudden are looked at as somebody who's anti healthcare or welfare or paying for schools or things like that, right? But that's not what I'm against. I'm against the crazy corruption where like the dude who runs the schools, who's completely ineffective, is making ridiculous amounts of money when the teachers aren't making money. And the tuition is crazy expensive, but it goes to, we don't even know where it goes.
So you're more concerned about the money that's going to the administration versus going to the actual teachers.
I'm concerned about money that's being thrown away and wasted, because if you and I were in charge of running Cal State Channel Islands, which is, down the hill from the picture that's behind me, where I went to school, I guarantee that if we looked at the budget and you and I had to figure out how to make the school free by just what the government provides and no tuition, you and I could make it happen. And the teachers could get paid more money.
Somebody might try to give us that role.
Yeah, right. There's no chance.
You and I would probably take it.
You know why we will never get that role? Because that role is being hired by some government official that was being voted on, not by their policy and how they actually have their track record, but what they say out loud. And what they say out loud and what they actually do are very different things. And if they did what they said out loud, they would not get hired again, because to do what you say out loud pisses off about half the people, right? And you have to say, like, to be elected, you have to say out loud what the minority who would not vote for you otherwise needs you to say. And then the people who would vote for you no matter what, because you're in their political party, are going to do it anyway, right? I'm not extreme enough to go, you know what, I'm not going to vote for this person for this reason, right? Well, maybe for some topics, but that's why guns are the way they are. That's why religious abortion stuff is the way it is, because there's certain groups, right? Without even going into it, we shouldn't go into it.
Well, okay, so let's take it back to crypto. How are you going to solve this with food?
How are we going to solve it with food? Okay, wait. I just stepped on.
Let's solve the world's problems in a different way, because we know politics we can't win. So, what are we suggesting here?
No, I think this is how you win politics, right? Okay, wait. We said world peace is the topic today, but okay, you are in the metaverse right now, right?
Always.
Our kids play in if we compare Decentraland or Voxels or Sandbox. Oh crap! I need to buy that piece of land. I didn't buy it yet. Is it sold? Crap. Okay, so if you go into any of these metaverses, and you play, our kids play in their own centralized versions of them, right? They play in Fortnite, they play in Roblox, they play in Minecraft, right? And we want the decentralized ones to work. It's not that different from what we're saying out loud, right? When we're talking about the governments, right? We want to play in a digital, fair, decentralized version of this world, and
Web3 interoperable version of it. Yeah.
Yes, but we're currently living in Web 2 America.
No, I'm not.
I have to go on these hikes to detach mentally. So you just go into a real fake world, which the real fake world is a better place. There is peace in the real fake world, and if there isn't, it's with pretend guns versus.
And the headsets are getting better, apparently.
The headsets are getting better. We got to play with those. Can we start doing this show from the Apple world? It's expensive.
That would be interesting.
So anyway, our kids. How do we bridge that gap? How do we get people comfortable? And I keep going back to this. People have heard me talk about this for years, but like, I love this idea of the things that connect us more than anything else. And I joked about this, right? I was talking to one of our companies that we work with, and they were in the UAE earlier, and one of them is from one part of the world, another one is from another part of the world, and I'm in one part of the world. My parents come from another part of the world, and you're in another part of the world, right? And your family comes from a different part of the world. But if you ask them, like, there's certain dishes and foods, right? Or you ask, like, an Israeli or an Arabic person, the difference between a pita and a lafa, and an Indian person, what's the difference between that and naan bread? It's not much of a difference. The ovens are the same. The way they make it are the same. The recipe's pretty much the same, depending on your family, right? Not big depending on the country, but depending on your family. The same thing with hummus, the same thing, or hummus, or the same thing with rice. I don't know. How does your family make it versus another family? And so, but everyone has their certain foods, and grandma's foods and mom's foods and dad's foods and grandpa's foods that they're obsessed with. And I think we should all sit around the same table and argue about it and have a little fun and eat each other's food and enjoy life. So I think we've talked about this, but I think we can do something really, really simple, right? My idea for a first kind of like get us all together and have some fun was a couple things. One, I was like, oh, how can we all get together? I can literally like go to my parents' house and like record my mom making her hummus recipe and share it with everyone. I could have my dad make like the eggplant that his family makes, or like one of the things that he makes. And he used to work in restaurants, and he can't even hear us, so he's just going to tell us stories whether we want to hear it or not. And it'll be fun and it'll be interesting. Maybe it'll only be fun for me, but I think it'll be interesting for other people. And then what I want to do is make your recipe, but you show me or tell me how to make it, spit the card. But I was thinking, how can we do this in like an NFT project, and how can we make it like really global? And here's what I'm thinking. People who are watching this, people on our email list, people on Twitter and LinkedIn and in the metaverse and whatever. New recipes, old recipes, grandma's recipes, great grandma's recipes. Here's what I'm thinking for a really cool generative drop. We start with every person when they submit to participate in this. They could submit any individual part, but I think each person who submits a recipe should submit all the parts, because I think it would be really cool. And maybe multiple parts, like they go to their parents' house and do this as well. Take a picture of your table, just straight overview picture of the table. Then put a placemat on it, or put I'm brain farting. What's it called? We put a cover on the table, a tablecloth.
Tablecloth, yeah, that works.
I couldn't come up with the word. A placemat or a tablecloth, right? Everybody does it. At my parents' house, we had ones for breakfast. That was one. And then later on, years later, my mom bought like these plasticky ones from probably like, I don't know, Target or Kmart or whatever the heck. I want pictures of those, right? But straight from the top, straight down. I want a picture of you putting your silverware on the table, right? The place setting. I want the place setting, and then I want the plate, and then I want a recipe card. In your mom's writing, in your writing, in your grandma's writing, whatever. Everybody has these old recipe cards. Take a picture. And if it's in another language, give us a picture of the one in the other language. We'll have the translation on the side somewhere, right?
Make sure there's no print on the tablecloth. We don't want print on the tablecloth that might be copyrighted or specific. It needs to be kind of a plain.
I don't think so, right? I don't think well,
no images. Well, we just don't want images.
Yeah, but if this is a picture of a table, I'm pretty sure that's fair use, right? We're not like, unless it's, maybe some certain things we'd have to ask an IP lawyer, but like,
just in case somebody has some really weird like Disney
yeah, that's true. We can think about that. But this is more about the traditional family stuff. But
correct.
I had I had bed sheets that were Star Wars when I was a kid, so maybe people have
exactly. That's what I'm saying. I know there might be some families out there.
Let's not create restrictions, and then if we're not allowed to include certain things, we won't be able to include certain parts. But I think, imagine this: I have a table setting, right? And maybe it's my table, but your placemat, and my grandma's forks, and my Indian friend's plate, right? And then the recipe card in the middle, might be David Shadrake's family's meatball recipe, right?
Well, hopefully the recipe matches the plate.
No, it's all going to be generative, and everything will have a clear background, so it's not going to match. That's kind of the point.
Though.
What?
But then you get the recipe, and you're like thinking, my recipe doesn't match anything on the plate.
Well, this is an image that you're just getting. This is like your participation trophy, or maybe we do a mint, right? Where there might be 1,000 of these, or maybe there's an unlimited amount, because there's going to be like millions of permutations if we get even 50 people to submit their family's settings, right?
I like the idea of the recipe going with the plate, though. I really
again, maybe the recipe and the plate stay together. I don't know. We'll decide. I also thought maybe on the plate setting,
we could change the plate itself, but the food is actually matching the picture.
Well, we're not taking a picture of the food here.
Oh,
we're not. Just the recipe card
that
will sit in the middle of the plate is what I'm saying.
Okay.
So because the whole point is that it's like a mix of all of this stuff, and it just shows everyone has different tables. I might have a wood table, somebody else might have a Formica table, you might have a light wood, a this wood. It doesn't matter, right? But like, what I want the metadata to show is the name of the person's table, right? Or whatever they want to name it. If you want to use like a pseudonym or something like that, or like I might put the Goren family, table or something, right? Or Alon's mom's table versus Sarah Goren's table. I don't know, right? Like, well, however you want to do it. But then there's a recipe card. And what I'd like is, if it's like some old family recipe, what I might want to tie to the recipe card is potentially a picture of the person whose recipe it is, right? Because then you might get like a picture of my grandma or something like that. And so maybe in the corner, there's a frame on your place setting that has like a picture of a person or something. Maybe not. I'm not sure. Yeah. But what I'd like to do with this is, there's a few things. Is that this is something we can all have some fun with, right? And we could try to make each other's recipes. It could be like a weekly hangout where a different person is teaching everyone how to make their foods. It could be a monthly thing. We could, if we want to later, make an actual recipe book. We can make this could turn into a TV show where people are, but I'm not even talking about that. I think we could raise money for like food charities and stuff like that, which would be wonderful. But I think what's cool about this is, for the first time ever, we can talk to our parents. Everybody talk about talking to young people about crypto and stuff. We can talk to our parents about crypto and show them us doing something that they can
relate
along with. They can relate to big time. They shouldn't really give a crap about magical internet money. They should, for their kids' sake, but they're already retired. They're already old. They're already, not going to benefit from.
What you could do is you could have an index of recipes, right? And they're permanently on the blockchain.
That's right. Now we have the recipes on chain. We're preserving like the legacies of our grandparents and our stuff. We're sharing it with the world and bringing joy to other people. You know how happy I would be right now to like make whatever you tell me is your family's like special recipe. I would love to tonight make dinner for my kids and my family and everything and go like, this is David Rankin's family recipe. And then we can all go, oh man, like that was weird, or that was awesome, right? Because like everybody, like I remember my wife's family, like there was like some Great Depression recipe that her grandma would make that was like a sour cream soup or something that just like nobody liked, right? But certain people in the family liked it or something, right? There's going to be things that our cultures like don't get. Like I don't understand like certain like sauerkrauty recipes and stuff that people do, but some people love it, right? And that's kind of fun because I'll probably have some weird recipe that I love that my family does that you go like, bro, that's too spicy, or what the hell, that's too much cumin, or whatever, I don't know, or too much garlic, there's too much this, there's something, right? And that's kind of cool. I grew up in Southern California. One of my favorite things to do, it's so funny, I hate raw onions. And when I grew up around Jews that made tongue, they would make a tongue in these weird roasts. I found it to be like the most disgusting thing in the world. It's actually cow tongue, right? In like a roast, in like weird old style, I think like Yiddishy recipe or something. I don't know what it is, but people love it. And it's disgusting in my opinion. And I hate raw onion. But if I go into a Mexican shop, Mexican food, taco place, in Oxnard, and it has to be in Oxnard or actually like in Mexico or something. Get tiny tacos de lengua, which is tongue tacos. They chop it up. They put green spicy salsa on it and raw onion. So these are the two main ingredients are things I hate. I eat those together. I eat those, and it's like, boom, it's one of my favorite foods in the world.
That's
right?
crazy.
I don't know how that works, but I love it. So I think, I just think there's going to be cool things that happen from this, and everyone can unite around something they love, which is food. Or maybe I'm just a crazy person who puts too much love into food. I don't know, but it's okay. I think we could be happy doing this. And I want to start
it's also about the preservation of food culture, right?
Yes, like the food culture, family culture, sitting around the table and arguing and agreeing on things, and then standing up and giving each other a hug and a kiss and saying, "I'll see you next week." It's not like I'm not liking the current culture of when we disagree, we have to really disagree, and we have to, I think that's not a good thing. So I don't know, and it's all under this thing about bringing in family members to participate with us in this thing that we're nerds about and we're goofy about, and they'll participate how they want to participate. And it's the start of this idea, in my opinion, right? In a way, I'm pitching this to the world right now, right? I'm saying this out loud because I want it to be true. And I don't know if it'll work. I don't know if it won't, but I think it could be a lot of fun. And it can help drive engagement and usage into what we do for a living. And I think it can be a positive force. And it's the first step in bringing families in. So, I own we say I have NFT.family. I think we should think about how we do family style NFT drops. We love our apes. Half of the apes are smoking, half of the apes offline are stoners. They're always talking about, I fall into the mix. I talk about the board vodka and stuff like that and the booze, but that's not the culture we want to be hanging out with our kids and talking about crypto with. We want to talk to our kids about the benefits of crypto. We want to talk to our parents about the benefits of crypto. And I can't go to them and be like, bro, did you see Half Baked? Like, they're rad NFTs, and I'm gonna own a piece of a cannabis brand by participating in this. Okay, that's cool amongst our peers, but that's not that's not how we show our kids the value of this, right? And I think this is super cool. So I'm gonna put up some kind of form somewhere so people can start submitting images so we can try it. But I also would love people to tell me ideas. Because when I first was talking about this, and I made a joke to my cousin, and I was like, "Oh yeah, we can film our dads in the kitchen together, arguing about whose recipe this is." This is they talk about their grandma and they call her the mama, they go hamama in Hebrew, right? The mama, and it's I don't even know exactly who that is, which grandma it is, from which side of the thing. But then I'm 100% sure that when we record them, in their heavy accents explaining to us whose recipe is, they're going to fight about whose it is. They're going to be like, no, she did it this way. No, she did it this way. No, you do it that way. I do it this way. I make it spicier. I make it this. And I have a feeling that this is not unique to my family, right? Every family has these things. And I think it'll be a lot of fun. And if I get a little joy out of it, and then I get convince you to try that recipe and share your family's recipe, I think it'll just be so much fun.
No, it will. It would be good stuff.
I don't know. What's your family's famous dishes?
Oh, fritters.
Fritters.
The fritters. Yeah, my wife's great grandmother owned an Italian restaurant in San Francisco, and fritters made out of cauliflower.
Do they have a menu? Oh, that sounds good.
No, well,
can you find a menu from that restaurant?
No, it's a long time gone. It's passed on to other people, but the thing is cauliflower, which one of those foods. I'm not a big cauliflower fan.
Same.
But when it's cooked with in a fritter, and it has raisins and there's some cheese in there, it is it's the best. I can eat it cold. I can eat it hot. And my wife, we used to have when her Nona was around.
Yeah.
Alon, when she was around, I would go to Nona's house and we would have dinner every Sunday.
Ooh.
And that might have been why I married my wife. But it was great. The fritters were the bomb. She made them all the time. And we make them occasionally, and they're probably one of my favorite foods that we make in our house.
See, everybody has stuff. My wife's family
Absolutely.
has these spinach patties that they would call fricellines, that she would make them a certain way, but then apparently the grandmas would make it with the leftover roast from the night before and chop into it, but she would make it more vegetarian without the meat in it. But like different people in her family make it different ways. And that was one of our favorite things in the world. And also one of those things you could eat hot and fresh, or you eat it the next day, like in a sandwich or something. Also, so good.
Yeah, it was just such a cool thing, just like be able to gather around a table and have awesome food and share in that. And I will admit, got too many kids. Like it's hard to get everybody together these days to have everybody eat at the same time at a table. But the problem is I don't know if you have this problem, but like something about young kids don't appreciate like the effort that goes into making good food.
I think we just live in a culture though that's everything is very instant and immediate, and not many people do the steps. You know who we got to get in on this? Did you? I don't know if he shared it with you or if he just texted it to me and Blesnak because we were talking about it. And I was like, dude, you got to send me pictures. Mike Radin, who's working with us as a developer on or as an engineer helping on some project. He is a foodie and he like cooks. He was like making. Oh yeah, in Michigan we had coffee with him, right? And he wanted to find the best coffee. He is like legit spends hours and like does things and bakes and does really interesting things. We got to get him in on this too. He's got interesting recipes, and his family's originally from Russia, so there's going to be some interesting things that we might not have in our houses.
I froze for a minute. I don't know what happened.
Oh, you did?
I think so. I'm glad to see we're back.
I was talking the whole time, not much different than normal, just yelling to the ether. So, but no, I think this could be a lot of fun. So I don't know. I think this is a cool idea. People should send us their.
We'll start thinking of your recipes. People should start thinking of recipes that they'd be willing to share. And
I think that I'll create some examples. I've already did like months ago, maybe a couple of years ago, even create like I had some ideas. But I think we should do it. I think we should use a chain that's, do it on Tezos or do it on Base or do it somewhere where there isn't a lot of gas fees. And we bring the world, together. Then we should use one of our spaces in the metaverse. I'm totally down to donate mine, or we could get one.
We can build a gallery. Yeah, we can build a gallery
and build a special gallery that has, that has some stories and whatever. Because you know what I would love is to accompany each recipe. Whoever wants to, with maybe like a video or a story, a picture, something explaining where the recipe came from or why it's important to you. Like, I think that is a big part of this, right? Like, I don't know. I think either this becomes just a fun art project that we do together, or it can be something bigger if people want it to be a bigger thing. Like, we were joking, like, what if every time there's a big crypto conference, we gather together, whoever happens to go there from this thing, and we host a big giant dinner, like a one giant table, 100 people at it, right?
Only food from the recipes.
Or not, or maybe like maybe each time a family kind of does it. Not that they're going to cook for everyone, but maybe like we find a caterer that makes their style of family food or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Or some, I don't know, something like that. Or I think could be so awesome. Because it's all started because I was saying we should do a hummus. I think I bought hummus.eth, or at least I bought hummus.tez. And I was like, that was going to be a project. And I was like, no, it's got to expand to more than just my insane.
More than just hummus, huh?
Yeah. Although I figured, if we lean into one, we could get like a good sponsor. And because I always post, there's that one national brand of hummus that's everywhere. And I always take pictures of their family pack and be like, guys, I don't know who raised you, but this is a personal size.
All right. So you heard it from Alon. It's not going to be NFTs and art this season that's going to lead the cycle. It's going to be food.
Food, on-chain food. But this is art. Food is art.
It is. It is art. It is
I think it's passed down art that changes over time too, because the ingredients are never the same over time. Plus, the people making it are different, and everybody always has that thing. And maybe they are the same to an extent, but we are different. So
they're going to be able to
remember our grandma's version better.
Wait for it. They're going to be able to do the derivative of the plate.
Ooh, derivative works. That'll be season 2. You'll take a recipe, like you'll take my mom's hummus recipe, and you will change it to your own style, and then it'll be a derivative, and you'll give credit to the original one. So when you create a derivative work, you like tie it to the one.
People probably think we're batty right now, but we will make this happen. People probably think
no,
we're batty.
This is not only is this cool and fun, and I think art in its own right, but it's also a great example of how to utilize smart contracts and on-chain IP, because we still haven't decided and figured out how it's going to be. I think we're going to do it mostly for charity, but if it can become a business and we can turn it into something, we have to think about how that would work in a way that's fair to everyone, right? I think we should think these things through. We should debate them publicly and maybe create a DAO or do a thing.
Without turning them into a security and creating an SEC issue.
No, we're not going to sell the IP.
Correct.
So it's different. We're actually, if IP is being sold, you're selling the IP of the people who participated, and by giving their thing, not by paying. You don't pay in to get any kind of profits from this. You participate, and you're actually like it's the same as e-commerce, right? Like we've talked about this, where I create a font, right? Let's say I make a font and I put it on font websites or on my own website and on Envato, right? Then I am getting paid a royalty or a percentage for what I created. It's the same as a song, right? When I create a song, I'm not creating a security. If somebody bought that song with the intent of making profits or something, it might be considered as the sale of a security, right? Make it compatible with MAYC serum. That's interesting. I used my serum to create.
I didn't know the Bored Ape serum, the original one. Right?
Yeah, that's what I'm assuming he was talking about. Right?
Yeah, I think so too.
But no, I think it should. There could be ways of like tying it to other campaigns, but the whole thing is that I want it to be totally family friendly, stand on its own. Somebody could participate. We should find a payment gateway and a way to do it where people could participate with dollars if they want, so they don't have to do it. So like somebody could pay $10 and they know that the money from the original mint or the majority of it or half of it or whatever we decide goes to a food charity of some sort, right? Like one of those ones, like you saw I don't know, has anyone seen that? I think it's on Netflix or it's streaming on one of the platforms, that really cool documentary of the I think he's Spanish, that chef that like goes when there's hurricanes, like he went to Katrina and he went to all the places and he fed people basically. And he just goes there like before FEMA can even get there, and he just finds a kitchen and he starts cooking for locals and feeding them. It's a really, really cool documentary. Like a nonprofit like that, right? Where it's like non-denominational, has no politics whatsoever. It's just like after a disaster or during a war, we'll go in there and we'll feed people. Like that's all we do. We just provide food.
Who would be a good fit for this project if they wanted to join us on this?
Everyone.
Yeah.
Do you have a family recipe?
Whether they submit a recipe?
Whether they submit a recipe or not is right. Every single one of us loves watching the Food Network every once in a while, right? Like, or you watch Somebody Feeds Phil, or you watch somebody cook something, or whether it's a cake or a whatever, right? And now, there's all these categories and metadata and interesting things that can go into all of this. And I think you're onto something. We need to set it up in a way to, in the future, the next step will be people coming in and doing derivative works. And here's the thing is, at first I was like, oh, I bet you we can reach out to some people, get some professional people to submit the recipes. I say, fuck that. Let's just say only people, amateurs. If you're like a professional chef person that has some kind of following, You can maybe we'll allow you to make derivatives of our works, but this is the real OGs. These are the grandma's recipes. These are our recipes that we feed our children, right? Like I say we go for that kind of thing, and then and there'll be side dishes, there'll be soups, there'll be main dishes, there'll be desserts.
I haven't had breakfast yet.
There'll be breakfast. Oh
no,
man,
I haven't had breakfast yet. You're making me really hungry.
I haven't either. I just had coffee, and then this drink that's kind of coffee, but not.
Yeah, I'm out of my tea.
So here's the thing. I think we should do this. I think it'll be really fun. I think we can get together some people.
Yeah,
have a few family members who are really into foodie stuff and cooking. I'm gonna get them to submit some recipes, and also I think that people have like passed down like cards and papers that have recipes with their grandma's handwriting, their great grandma's handwriting, whatever. I want people to submit those too, and even if it's in another language, I think that's cool. Like we'll then help us translate it, and in the metadata we'll show the English translation or something. But I think that's a part of this whole thing, right? Is like this borderless, amazing world that we live in, right? Is pretty great, and there's more things that make us similar than make us different, and I think that's freaking awesome. So we're getting real hippy dippy right now, but I think that like this is legit. Right? So we got to come up with ideas. I think the generative drop idea is pretty cool, but maybe it's not even necessary. But I think it's fun because it's like the first way of you like to receive some of these recipes, and then you get some, and some might be more rare than others. I don't know. What rarity things do we make rarities? It's kind of weird, right? Like, why make one more rare than another?
Well, food is food.
Instead of this is like your key to a clubhouse, right? You just buy one of these. It means that you donate it. Maybe we can even make it a free mint of some sort, but then we have to come up with a model that can help pay for some of the initiatives or ideas, right? And I think doing it for charity is a cool thing, because then we can go like, okay, half goes to charity. So you're paying $10, $5 going to this charity, $5 is going into this DAO or into this place that'll just create more stuff. And then we build this way for people to pick a recipe and then submit a derivative work of that recipe for like the next season or something. Maybe that's just an airdrop that everyone gets. That would be a cool mechanism. All we have to do is like a very simple verification system. But let's say I submit my mom's hummus recipe, right? You come to our site and you say, I've created a derivative work of Alon's hummus, right? You click on it, you submit that new recipe card or the recipe or whatever derivative work. We take that in and we do a test run with the community or something, maybe on a live stream. Like we have a call and go, okay, I don't know if a lot of people do it, that'd be too much. But what if the next week you and I do a live stream, be like, we just made the Blesnak family derivative of the hummus, and it's legit. We get a thumbs up. Or holy crap, you got to make this because you didn't actually make it because there's way too much salt in your recipe. Figure out what's wrong with it. Like I want real people to make real derivative works. Maybe they have to submit something, but then if I hold the original hummus recipe, maybe I just automatically get airdropped the Rankin derivative, right? Like somehow we build that mechanism into the system to drop derivative things, but we have to have something in between to make sure it's not spam, right? But it could be pretty cool because then being a holder of certain recipes, like, ooh, I love eggplant dishes. Now, because I hold that recipe, I'm going to receive different people around the world's derivative works of it. Hey, make this bread with this kind of flour instead. Add OJ and something, and now it's like a special orangey version from Morocco. I don't know.
It's kind of like making kefir cheese, which is made out of milk, and you can add different things to it to give it different tastes. Yeah. So like my mom taught us to make kefir cheese, so we've been making kefir cheese. And yesterday I threw in some garlic with the kefir cheese, put it on a bagel, and then put some salmon on it. It was so good, dude. With the onions.
That's what I'm saying. We can. There's different ways, and that's the thing. Like no, everyone does every single thing different. Like I actually argue with my mom all the time because she makes this
in a good way.
It's like I call her up out of the blue, like I can't believe you cook that differently now. But when we have the dinner, my mom loves that she changed the dough recipe on one of her desserts. Like this is now probably 10 years ago. And every time since, and I don't even really remember how the original one tasted. I just know it's different, and I said it, so who knows? Right. But she changed the dough on this kind of a strudel thing that she makes, and I always give her a hard time. But the thing is, every time she makes it mostly the same, but it'll be a little different. Like, oh, this week I had this kind of jelly. This week I had this kind. Or if my dad makes it, he can't make a recipe the same way twice. So he destroys her recipes every time. It's still great and delicious, but it's not the same one.
There's people doing gluten-free now.
Exactly. So somebody goes, hey, I made a gluten-free derivative of that amazing thing, and that's great.
Yeah. I had a gluten-free pizza, and I was like, oh my God, this is actually really good.
Oh, for sure. No, that's the thing too, is I'm a big fan of, see, the thing is, a lot of people go, hey, this thing has meat in it, so I'm going to get this fake meat thing that's as close to meat as possible. And to me, I'm just not against vegetables that much. And but I am against the fake meat. Like, yeah. I just don't know what it is. And it's never like, there are some now that are like really pretty legit, but like I'd have no problems if somebody went like, hey, instead of that thing that has the meat in it, I created a version that has like eggplant and potatoes. I don't know, like, right. Yeah. And then those are derivatives people can make. So now it makes the community more inclusive, right? Because now people can make derivative works. And if you hold the original recipe, you'll get airdrop those derivative works, right? I think that's kind of a cool thing. And then what if you are a up and coming chef person that has a blog or something that's all about being gluten-free? You can come in, join our community, provide that, and people who are gluten-free be like, oh my God, look, here are these amazing family recipes that are the best recipes in the world. Because like, there's no amount of like, I'm a Food Network person, I'm gonna create a new recipe that's gonna be better than any of these. That's bullshit. It's not possible.
Well,
I don't believe it. So
if we're going to put these in a metaverse, the only thing we need to figure out is, does Tezos have a metaverse yet? And I don't know.
There was one that was being tested, but you know what? I think we have to be a little bit agnostic, and we have to think about a lot of things aside from chain. I would like it to be on Tezos for my own, I love experimenting on Tezos.
It's gas effective. It's efficient gas-wise.
Yeah, there's efficient in lots of ways, and it's pretty amazing in lots of ways. And there's an amazing art community that would probably participate in this a lot. But we can also do it anywhere, and we can also do it, I don't know how we would make it agnostic, because there has to be, I like the idea of some NFT thing, but maybe it's there is going to be a Tezos, there's going to be the Tezos upgrade stuff that will allow you to do EVM. So maybe there will be something we can do where anyone with a Tezos wallet and with an Ethereum wallet can participate. But I actually want people to sign in like with email or something, like Magic Wallet, if they don't have a regular one. No, we got to think about all these things. So people got to come in, pitch us ideas, and we got to talk to some technical folks, or else we're going to be using out-of-the-box solutions, which I think would force us onto an ETH chain, because the out-of-the-box solutions I've done in the past have been on ETH, and I probably could negotiate rates to be free or practically free, since we're going to do it for charity.
I bet you there's somebody out there right now going, oh my God, I've already got this project.
Yeah, well then come tell us about it. Let's do it. Let's go. That's how it is with I love to pitch ideas to founders who are pitching ideas to me, and go like, because ideas are awesome and they are special in some ways, but the execution of them is what's actually special. Because for every idea we have, there's 100 other people who have similar or maybe better versions of that idea. But for every 100 ideas, there's maybe one person actually executing on it. So I'm happy to just tell everyone exactly what I want to do all the time, because I'm either going to do it or not. If I do it, I'm going to go all in and do it right. But let's think about this. I think this could be so much fun. We've got to jump to our next call. We're going to have some guests on next time and have a more real topic and plan it in advance.
This is real.
Oh, this was legit. Now, what we either need to do is bring some people on and talk about it in advance so that we can start bringing in contributors and figuring out who will work on this with us. I have a cousin who is a curator, like literally for art. And I tried to pitch her this idea, but she kind of has to have a real job. But I think maybe this could be, I thought about this being a family project. Like we talked about, like we get our families online like once a week on a Saturday morning. Whoever shows up, and we just lead the charge and we do it, which maybe is how we might do it. But I know that you and I both are private in that way. So that would have to be done offline, right? So we'll think about that. We'll think about it. But I think this is something we're going to do. So I'd love anybody who's watching this that would like to contribute to reach out, and then I'll start getting together a form with David on the NFT family website, or maybe we put a new domain for it. I don't know, and start collecting people's recipes and tables and tablecloths and placemats and things, and we can all be a global borderless family together. It'd be awesome. Sound good?
Everybody, have a great week.
Have a great week, everyone. I hope you're all watching the charts and smiling a lot. Chad is in.
Awesome.
All right.
We got it.
Hell yeah. Let's go. All right. Peace. Have a great week, everyone.
Later, guys.
Oh, there it is.